Hey, Rach, welcome in. Dark Side of the Mo, welcome in. Books and Babe, welcome in. Oh my gosh. Day was really good for a Monday. Samantha, welcome in. Thank you for asking. Today was a good day for a Monday. It was slow. The principal wasn't in today, so I got to relax a little. Magali, welcome in. Samantha, how's everything going? Oki, welcome in. Welcome back. I love the little 17 next to the message. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for 10 minutes after the hour or 20 people in the room. I think our background goes well with the Christmas tree. I feel like we're actually there. Tanya, welcome in. Tanya, how are you doing? How's the family doing? Is everybody getting over their flu, their cold? Busy. Yeah. Busy, busy. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for the room to get. Writers, good. Me and my fiance are still sick. Oh no. Mundane Man, welcome in. Yeah, we are in the middle of our Christmas era. Samantha, it is raining. Here it was cloudy most of the morning and the afternoon, and then around 3 or 4 o'clock it started getting dark with clouds, and I believe it's raining outside. I busted out the all the tea all the tea equipment. Yeah, it's gonna be raining for the next couple of days. Really interesting. Yay! Thank you so much. We reached our goal. Our ice creams. Thank you. Yeah, definitely happy about the rain, and it's finally feeling cold. Books and Babe, thank you so much for achieving our goal. Let's see. Let's start a new one. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. Ooh, here's a new one. This one's 20 coins. Let's do 50 of those. Perfume. That's a fun one. That's new. I haven't seen that one. Oh, Magali, was it pouring over there? Yeah, it's very strong. I saw the news that you guys are going to get another one. But I hope you have it. Oh, thank you so much. Dennis Lakis, welcome in. Welcome to those of you on YouTube. Marcy, welcome in. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for the room to get filled. Yeah, it's what is the temperature right now? We don't have the heat. We don't have the heat on. We don't have the air conditioning on. We're just surviving on the warmth of the day. So it's 55 degrees right now. It's supposed to be raining starting at 10. Yeah, no, by 8 o'clock, 100%. So less than an hour, we should be getting a downpour, which we're really excited about. Wild Faith, welcome in. Oh, Marcy, it's 30 degrees in Michigan. Ooh, that's really nice. That's a good cold. I pray that you have blankets and heaters going at this time. Buxton Baby, how is it in Virginia right now? What's the temperature in the East Coast for our friends across? Good, Marcy. That's always good to know. Liz, welcome in. Oh, the 40s? Oh, that's nice. That's nice and cool. That's nice and cold. I love 40-degree weather. You could do a lot in 40-degree weather still. Oh, it was a beautiful day. Clear? Oh, nice. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for the room to get filled. Welcome to those of you on YouTube. Juan, welcome in. QV5RU. Q. Oh, it was a perfect, crisp fall show. Oh, how nice. That's so lucky. Oh, Dennis, did you? Yeah, I hear it's really beautiful over there. Is it? It is, Liz. We have a church theme in the back this time. Look at how pretty it is. The poinsettias. They have poinsettias. We have poinsettias. The gold poinsettias. Yes, very nostalgic. Very nostalgic. It reminds me of growing up, going to church on Sundays on Christmas. It's so pretty. Yes, ours are better. We have angels. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to show you guys some ideas that we have going for Project Wednesday on Wednesday. Now, I was thinking that we were going to do a Christmas tree with cinnamon sticks. But I brought the cinnamon sticks and they didn't quite pan out like I wanted to or wanted to get. The only ones I could find were these really thick ones. I wanted to find some very small ones and then crisscross them to make a tree. We bought, but we're going to do something else instead. We have little we have these little presents that we found at Michael's. We're going to put these, little tiny presents. I'm going to show you what we got, and then I'm going to show you what I'm thinking. We've got nothing that we can actually make, but we can assemble it. I think that'd be very cute. We got these little lights. I'm going to open this up because I want to see what it looks like. They're little string lights. I think they're supposed to go with those little villages, but you can pretty much do anything with them. Yeah, they have these little threads to them, these little light bulbs. Aren't those great? I know, wouldn't that be fun, Samantha? So we have these little lights. And then we had to get some more of this glue gun that's wrapped. It's really pretty. Really pretty, but really useful. And then we have these little puffball things that we could use. I wanted to use as lights on a Christmas tree. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we can make wreaths because I found this. This is one of the things I wanted to do. I found these little things at Michael's, and we could do a lot of things with these. We can get those little lights, wrap them around. We could put the gifts on them. Put the little puff balls around them, and then hang them on the tree like that. Wouldn't that be great? I'm gonna see if I can find some more little, or maybe we can make out of paper or something, out of tissue paper, we can make some little bows or something and put them on. That way we could have a really nicely decorated wreath and put it on here. Oh, thank you so much, Dennis. I really appreciate that. Yeah, aren't those great? So that'll be for Project Wednesday. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with it, but I don't want to put too much thought into it because it's supposed to be fun. Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. I can't wait. All right, let's go ahead and set our goal for tonight's goal is going to be 40K, so we're at 1.3. And then for those of you on YouTube, oh yeah, Denise, I'm on TikTok as well, so I'm streaming both. YouTube people come in and out all the time, but I usually just use these recordings and upload them. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's start by tapping first. I'm gonna set the timer for 1 minute. Let's tap, tap, tap. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with, we finished Paddington Bear yesterday. And we're going to start with, let's start with the mitten. This is from the Jan Brett collection. The Mitten. This is a really good Christmas story. It is really nice, yes. Hey Jada Clayton, right now we're on the West Coast right now, so it's 7 o'clock. This is for our friends in the East Coast. So we have this tannish brown end page. It's a really nice way. Hey Siri, turn on. Really good way to start children's book. Hey Siri, turn on. Now I didn't notice this, guys. Yes, a really nice burnt orange. It's a Ukrainian folk tale, The Mitten. We might have read that last week, but I don't remember that detail. Maybe because we didn't have so much of the Ukraine in the news as before. Hey Siri, turn on. Siri's on her own planet right now. Hey Julia, welcome in. Julia, how are you feeling? It says, once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. So one of the things about the Jan Brett illustrator is we got to pay attention to her drawings because she puts a lot of time and effort into her drawings. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. And on the sides here, you get another little story going on. So this looks like it's the grandmother who's she's picking the yarn. And in the picture is a little mitten. It's like a little window. But it was hard. A weekend spent already. Oh, yes. And there's little Nicky. He's out there playing in the snow. Oh, you're welcome. And then there's some color here. And then on this side is the other mitten. There's the grandma. So it looks like she's looking for the yarn. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens. And finally, Baba made them. It's good to have you back. I'm glad you're doing better than this weekend. Yeah, we have some flus. We have some injuries, but we'll get through it. So here we have a mitten with just the outside snow. And then there's grandma. This is a really great kitchen or great living room. Yeah. So there's grandma. She's getting ready. She's getting the mitten ready. She told him, you know what? White is not a good idea for a mitten because if you're out in the snow, you're going to lose it. But she caved. Isn't it, Buxom Babe? And then look at that little fireplace. The fire. They got the little decoration there. Very cultural. Very European. Hey, Brooke Comer, welcome in. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Grandma was right. He dropped it. This almost looks like Swedish with their carvings and their little colored in carvings. Hey, Prince Hairflip, welcome in. And there's a little cottage there. So he went out, Nicky went out to go play. And of course he dropped the mitten. And there's the mitten on the ground. And we see what looks like will be in the next page here. There's a mole. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. So this is what I love about Jambrette. So right here, so we get a glimpse, a peep as to what's coming up on the next page. She's got all these different stories going on at the same time. So you see Nicky going over there, and then you see a rabbit there, so that might be the next animal. So the mole sees the mitten, comes out of the little hole, and then goes right towards the mitten. Yeah, and then there's the rabbit coming out of the little log. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten and wiggled in it, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when they saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. So there's Nicky, and there's the rabbit and the mole. Hey, Janelle Howell, welcome in. We haven't seen you in a while, Janelle Howell. How are you doing? How's everything in Washington? There's the rabbit and the mole trying to fit into the glove. And then look at what we see coming next. They're making a home out of that glove, whether they fit or not. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along, having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat. He decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. So there's Nicky. He's out doing his own thing. He hasn't even realized he lost that glove. And then we've got an owl there. Doing really good. Thank you so much, Janelle. Yes, and this economy cheap rent is worth it. Exactly. So you have a mole and a rabbit. And then the hedgehog is coming in. He's going to make his room. And now we see an owl. The owl's getting nosy and wants to see what's going on in there. But look at all these details here. These flowers, the tree trunks. You've got these little edges here. Little paw prints. A lot of detail. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. So they were all thinking, no, we're not going to let that next person in, but each time they've got something really scary, so they all move over. So there's the owl. Look at how gorgeous the details on that owl wing is. And the color patterns. And look at that glove. It is just stuffed. And then you have the tree there. And there's the next animal that's going to come out. Isn't it beautiful? Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. His diggers. So there's a fox coming out of the hole. So we get an idea of what's coming next. Look at them all in there. That owl has no business in there. And then here comes the fox. It is Kimberly a big cornucopia. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. There's Nicky playing around up there. He hasn't even realized he's lost the glove. There's the one glove left. There's the next animal. There's the fox getting in. The owl. And now look who's coming next. A big bear. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Thank God for Baba's good knitting. Teddy, you thought this could actually have Amber, you deceived. Really? That's an interesting perspective from a kid. Thinking that, yeah, that can actually happen. That mitten has doubled in size. And then look who's next here. The little mouse. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. So there's Nicky. He's finally realizing that he's missing a glove. And then we get this great picture of all these animals stuffed inside that glove. You got the rabbit, the mole, the fox, the owl, and then there's the mouse. Yes, it is a gorgeous shade of blue there, that little pop. And we see that he finally realizes, uh-oh, I'm missing. Yeah, Liz, this is one of those classics that we just, at least I discovered it here. I didn't know John Brent had a big. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. So they popped that glove after the bear sneezed. Look at them, they're all jumbled. The owl, the fox, the rabbit, the mole, the porcupine. And then there goes Nicky looking for the glove. I think he sees it. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. So there's the fox after the sneeze, and there's the owl, and the little mouse. And there's Nicky. He sees the flying mitten. It's like a crystal icy blue. And then there's the rest of the animals thrown about. They were nice and warm in that glove. As he ran to catch his snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. So there's a little glove, still with the picture. There he is catching the glove. And then you've got the little thatched roof. And then there's Grandma. She's looking out. Baba, she's looking out the window. And there's like a little nest up here. There's the owl. These are really pretty Christmas colors right here. Red, green, and white. The end. And all it does is it ends with Nicky inside and Grandma's looking at the glove. She's like, I don't remember the glove being this big. And there's the little fireplace decoration in the background. Her little top. The end. The Mitten by Jan Brett. No better way to start the live than with a Jan Brett. You have to love a Jan Brett Christmas children's literature book. Yes, very intricate. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. I give this one a 10. Give this one a 10. You can't get any better than Jan Brett. All right, in the comment section, let's see what everybody is thinking. 1 through 10. Janelle Howell, 10. Amber UGC, 10 for sure. I agree. 10s across the board. Brooke Comer, 10 out of 10 for Jan Brett. Yes. If you look up Jan Brett yesterday, Maria was telling us she's on tour. I guess she's got a new book coming out. I looked her up. Julia, 10. Tanya, 9. Liz Diaz. Prince Hair Flip, 10. Brooke Comer, 10. Marcy, 10. Samantha, 10. Yes, a classic. Books of Babe, 10. She's on tour, so looks like she's going to be in the bigger city. She's not going to be in California. If she was, I would like to go see her. But that would be really interesting. She's got a new book coming out. I got to check it out, see what it's all about. Because if it's a Jan Brett, you know it's going to be good. All right, let's set the timer for 1 minute. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute.
1 minute starts now.
Okay guys, while we wait, I'm gonna go pour some tea right now because I boiled the water right before I went on. So let me go get some tea. I'll be right back. You guys can enjoy some of the This will be a sound experience right now. Hey Siri, turn on. Guys, we're bringing back the teapot. I'm being levitated into the Christmas. Right. I feel holy. And a tinge of guilt as well. The guilt, Catholic guilt, doesn't take long for it to come back. Let's put the teapot here. I'm gonna put our pumpkin down here. But we gotta pour the tea first. Let's pour the tea. We forgot about the pour. This is a peach and turmeric tea with a honey base. We forgot about our peach and tea turmeric. It's gonna have a little kick to it because of the turmeric. That's good. Delicious. Yeah, we forgot about that tea, Hot Prince Hairfoot, or the pour. We have to get back into it. Georgia Peach, we put in honey base. We put in honey. So I put honey in the little dispenser with the tea bags, and then as I pour the hot water, it melts into the tea. So that's the sugar. It does have a good, sweetness to it. We love a good honey base. All right. So we usually get 2 Christmas and then 2 regular stories. So we're gonna do another Christmas story. This one's a classic one. For those of us, since it's a cold night, at least the first cold night here in California. Oh, Buster Babe, that's right, huh? List of the keys. Should put that on soon. The Little Match Girl. Last year when we read this one, some of you mentioned that there's like a little cartoon about it. Disney, I think, did something. Yeah, Bucks and Babe teas are a lot of fun. It's really fun going shopping for tea too in those little shops. Especially when they've got like different flavors. Like flavors that are unheard that you don't really hear from. This is by Hans Christian Andersen. This is like a retelling of it. The Little Match Girl. Oh, Georgia Peach Tivana was really good. Remember they have those free samples? Those are really good. Yes, the endless combinations. Right? I know. It was late on a bitterly cold New Year's Eve. The snow was falling. A poor little girl was wandering in the dark, cold streets. She was bareheaded and barefoot. So here we have this English town. I know, Books and Babe brought back a lot of memories too. Especially, they were always at every mall that you went to. No matter where you went, there was always a Tivana. Julia, this one here is the it's YouTube. I put in Christmas ambiance. You can put in like church ambiance or orchestra, and it'll come up. So there's a little girl. She's got a bare head and bare feet. It's a cold and wintry night on New Year's Eve. She had, of course, had slippers on when she left home, but they were not much good, for they were so huge. They had last been worn by her mother, and they fell off the poor little girl's feet when she was running across the street to avoid 2 carriages that were rolling rapidly by. One of the shoes could not be found at all, and the other was picked up by a boy who ran off with it, saying that it would do for a cradle when he had children of his own. So the pair of shoes that she did have on were too big for her to begin with. They were her mom's. And as she was running across the street, one of them fell off, and this boy grabs it because he says, eventually when I have a kid, it'll be big enough to put a baby in. That's kind of mean. So we find out why she doesn't know, right, Liz? Very nice. So the poor little girl had to walk on with her little bare feet, which were red and blue with the cold. She carried a quantity of matches in her old apron and held a packet of them in her hand. Nobody had brought any from her during all the day long, and nobody had even given her a copper. The poor little creature was hungry and perishing with cold, and she looked the picture of misery. One thing you can say about these are really good illustrations. Not her mom's, she's a decisive book. No, right, Kimberly? That was a really nice out of the way to say it. Prince Airflip, remember this one? My coworker used to tell me about it last year, and so I thought, oh, that's like a really good one. She said it really made an impact on her. So there's a little girl in a little town. It's probably close to 0 degrees, near freezing. She's walking around with bare feet and no headscarf. Yeah, the illustrations are really good. Yes, books and babe, especially like European stuff, like these tall hats and coats and fancy dresses. The snowflakes fell on her long yellow hair, which curled so prettily around her face, but she paid no attention to that. Lights were shining from every window, and there was a most delicious odor of roast goose in the streets. For it was New Year's Eve. She could not forget that. So we have this, it looks like a Victorian town almost. You've got this down here, the little, almost looks like Scrooge. It's starting to snow, snow's coming down. And you've got all these little storefronts here with these cozy, warm lights coming out. And she smells cooked goose. The most delicious odor of roast goose in the streets. That probably smelled really good, especially in the cold. She found a corner where one house projected a little beyond the next one. And here she crouched, drawing up her feet under her. But she was colder than ever. She did not dare go home, for she had not sold any matches and had not earned a single penny. Her father would beat her, and besides, it was almost as cold at home as it was here. They had only the roof over them, and the wind whistled through it, although they stuffed up the biggest cracks with rags and straws. So a lot of information here. So this girl, she's walking the streets and she sees this little crack where one house sticks out just a little bit more than the other. And so she goes to that corner there and snuggles up. And she can't go home because she didn't make any money selling the little matches. And so she's thinking here, should I go home or should I stay here? But she didn't know which was worse, going home or staying here, which isn't a really good choice. Her little hands were almost stiff with cold. Oh, one little match would do some good. If she only dared, she would pull one out of the pocket and strike it on the wall to warm her fingers. She pulled that one. Rush! How it sputtered and blazed. It burnt with a bright, clear flame, just like a little candle when she held her hands around it. So she ended up getting that little flame, striking it and keeping warm. And look at the glow of the little fire on her face. And it's coming down. The snow is coming down really strong. Yes, do it. Did I say or should I go? Now the light seemed very strange to her. The little girl fancied that she was sitting in front of a big stove with polished brass feet and handles. There was a splendid fire blazing in it and warming her so beautifully. But what happened? So it looks like she's dreaming because she's got this black potbelly stove near her with the little flame. She's thinking about how warm it would be. Just as she was stretching out her feet to warm them, the flame went out, the stove vanished, and she was left sitting with the end of the burnt match in her hand. There went the one last inch of survival. She struck a new one. It burnt, it blazed up, and where the light fell upon the wall, it became transparent. It became transparent like gauze, and she could see right through into the room. The table was spread with a snowy cloth and pretty china. A roast goose stuffed with apples and prunes was steaming on it. And what was even better, the goose hopped from the dish with the carving knife sticking in his back and waddled across the floor. It came right up to the poor child, and then the match went out, and there was nothing to be seen but the thick black wall. So it looks like each match she lit gave her a glimpse into something that she really wanted. So the second one, she lights it up and she sees this amazing spread, Christmas spread. And then the duck gets up, comes out, sits right in front of her. The match goes out and then it disappears. So it's like a dream. She lit another match. This time she was sitting under a lovely Christmas tree. It was much bigger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen when she peeped through the glass doors at the rich merchant's house this very Christmas. Thousands of lighted candles gleamed under its branches, and many colored pictures, such as she had seen in the shop windows, looked down at her. So she lit another match. Hey, Christina, welcome in. Christina, how are you doing? We haven't heard from you in a bit. There's a Christmas tree with all these pretty lights. Look at that Christmas glow. She's got that one match. And this is what she sees, and all the little decorations. The little girl stretched out both her hands toward them. Then out went the match. All the Christmas candles rose higher and higher till she saw that they were only the twinkling stars. One of them fell and made a bright streak across the sky. Something is dying, thought the little girl. For her old grandmother, the only person who had ever been kind to her, used to say, when a star falls, a soul is going to God. Has there been? Oh, you were in a dark place. Oh, okay. How are you doing? How are you doing today? So the little match girl sees a falling star, and she associates that with her grandma passing. A very beautiful night sky. Now she struck another match against the wall, and this time it was her grandmother who appeared in the circle of flame. She saw her quite clearly and distinctly, looking so gentle and happy. "Grandmother," cried the little creature, "oh, do take me with you. I know you will vanish when the match goes out. You will vanish like the warm stove, the delicious goose, and the beautiful Christmas tree." Oh, good. I had a long talk with my dad today. Oh, good. That's good to know. Thank you so much for the follow. Forever. Kenya. So there's the last one of the other matches she lit. She sees her grandmother in that gold. Isn't that a great illustration? That burst of gold in the middle. It reminds us of our poinsettia that we made. Our poinsettia ornament. They have gold, we have gold. She hastily struck a whole bunch of matches because she did so long to keep her grandmother with her. The light of the matches made it as bright as day. Grandmother had never before looked so big or so beautiful. She lifted the little girl up in her arms, and they soared in a halo of light and joy, far, far above the earth. where there was no more cold, no hunger, and no pain, for they were with God. Hmm. Right, Mike Silva? This is a really good story. It's a very hauntingly Christmas tale. Kind of like Scrooge and all those other like late 1950s, 40s Christmas movies. So she finally greets her grandma. In the cold morning light, the poor little girl sat there in the corner between the houses with rosy cheeks and a smile on her face. Dead. Frozen to death on the last night of the old year. New Year's Day broke on the little body, still sitting with the ends of the burnt out matches in her hands. She must have tried to warm herself, they said. Nobody knew what beautiful visions she had seen, nor in what a halo she had entered with her grandmother upon the glories of the new year. So in that little corner there, it looks like she was spending the last part of her life dreaming. And the last part she ended up with her grandmother. And so it looks like she ended up going. Yeah, nobody saved her. And look at the dog. It's a very impactful story. And then there's the end with two little stars. That's probably her and the grandmother. Now in heaven. Georgia Peach, yeah, this one's a good one. The end. It's a soft cover so we don't get the snap. The Little Match Girl. You guys are getting really good, really strong titles, especially for Christmas. You're getting really good titles, very meaningful, very deep. Lots of good illustrations. Jan Brett, The Mitten. Number 1, we started out. Yeah, it is short, but it packs a punch. And then The Little Match Girl. I think if you go on YouTube and you look up The Little Match Girl, there's like a Disney short on this. Somebody had told us about it last year. Look up the Disney short for The Little Match Girl. You can find it. It's really cute. Alrighty, in the comment section, let's go ahead and vote. Which one is your favorite? Mike Silva, yeah, that one's a good one. Yes, it does. I could have listened to it for her. Oh, okay, Georgia Peach. Yeah, that's a really good one. Let's set the timer for 1 minute. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute.
1 minute starts now.
All right, while we do that, now it's time for normal books. We still have a lot of books from the last library haul that we did. We're gonna do something, let's see. There's a lot of good ones in here. But which one are we gonna pick? I'm not sure yet. I think we're gonna do this one. I think we're gonna do this one. Down on the Bayou. Down on the Bayou. When I saw this one, I thought I have to get this one. Hey Siri, turn off. Let's see, Feral Feminist 1, Janelle Howell 1, Brooke Comer 2, Julia Princess, and the Frog. We'll have to find that one, Julia. This one's called Down on the Bayou. I really love this cover. And anything Bayou or anything South American or down in the jungles somewhere, Magali too. Definitely good to find and see what it's about. Look at how glorious that is. Look at that end page. Oh, it reminds you of Princess and the Frog. Oh, okay. Yeah, Brooke Comer, that cover. I really enjoyed that too. And then look at this end page. It's like a nighttime, well, it's a bayou, of course. Yeah, the light and dark blues. Very glowy. Got an alligator there. You got an owl. And it's almost magical there in the back with the little lights. The dragonflies, probably. Down in the Bayou. This was published this year, 2025. And we get a little glimpse of who the people are. Yes, gators in their swampland. Exactly, Georgie. We've got a little mobile home. A little truck. Down in the bayou. Grandpa, what is a bayou? I asked. My vacation had just begun in Venturi, Louisiana. Everyone called it Bayou Country. So I know we had some Louisianans in here. Who do we have nearby? My vacation had just begun in Venturi, Louisiana. Had anybody ever been to Venturi, Louisiana? And am I saying that correct? All I knew about the bayou was that it had alligators and snakes and ghosts. Grandpa was writing in his spiral notebook as usual. He looked up and said, "Well, Troy, I guess you could say a bayou is a shallow, slow-moving, muddy river. But it's much more than that." "Will you take me to the bayou?" I asked eagerly. I was a little scared, but very curious. "I'll take you one day, T-boy," promised Grandpa. In the Creole language that Grandma and Grandpa speak, T. Okay, so we're getting a really good book today. Louisiana, the bayou. And you got this family pictures in the background here, some plants, Grandma's kitchen. And we're going to be learning about the Creole language. T means little. Day after day, I waited. Would Grandpa ever take me to the bayou? In the meantime, I read my dragon books and Grandpa wrote in his notebook. "What do you write about, Grandpa?" I asked one evening. "I write about things that happen in my life, and I write poems." "Poems? I didn't know Grandpas wrote poems." "They sure do. He still writes me poems," Grandma said. She turned to Grandpa, who was wearing a little smile. "Gus, when are you going to take him?" Grandpa closed his notebook and announced, "In the morning, we go down to the bayou. The bayou's calling out to me." Oh, this is a poem that the grandfather wrote. "The bayou's calling out to me, 'Come back, my son.' It says, 'Come see.' What holds me back, I do not know, but I promise, and so I'll go." So they're having a little conversation out there on the front porch. Grandma, Grandpa, the little grandson, is asking his grandfather, "When are you going to take me to the bayou?" I thought morning would never come, but it did. While Grandma smeared mosquito repellent all over me, Grandpa backed out his old pickup truck. "Keep your hands inside the piogi, T-boy," Grandma called as we drove off. "What's a pirogue? What's a pirogue?" I asked Grandpa. "That's what you call the canoe we'll be riding in." Soon we were at the bayou. An old friend of Grandpa's was waiting for us. So this is right before they leave to the bayou, and Grandma's putting some mosquito repellent on him, and they're going to the pirogue. And what is the pirogue? The pirogue is this little canoe here. And there's Grandpa and his galoshes and the old pickup truck. As they greeted each other, Grandpa said, "This is my grandson, Troy." Grandpa's friend shook his head. Grandpa's friend shook my hand. "You can call me Uncle Joe. I'll give you a tour like the ones I gave before I retired." He studied the boat as Grandpa and I climbed in. My dad carved this pirogue From a single cypress log, Uncle Joe announced proudly, "It's almost 100 years old." "That's how old I feel," Grandpa muttered as he took his seat. "Bad knees." This Piro sat low in the water, alligator low, I thought as I folded my hands on my lap. So they're getting ready for their adventure on their Piro, which was carved out of a tree. And there they are in the water. Grandpa's not as young as he used to be. And the Piro's low, alligator low. So if an alligator comes, watch out. Once we were settled in, Uncle Joe began paddling. He and Grandpa told me the names of the cool animals I spotted: great blue herons, wild boars, and otters. The animals created great background music for our trip. Bullfrogs croaked, crickets and cicadas chirped, birds tweeted, and cawed catchy tunes. Let me show you guys the picture of this first. We still got one more page to read, but look at how pretty that picture is. So they're deep in the midst of the bayou. And there's all the different types of animals that you find in the bayou. Moss-covered trees, greens. Cicadas were in Cape Cod this past summer. Oh, how pretty. Yeah, they're pretty loud, aren't they, cicadas? I'd love to go to Cape Cod one of these days. "This is like an enchanted forest," I exclaimed, spreading my arms wide. "Look at those trees." "Those are cypress trees," said Uncle Joe. "What's that hanging from the branches?" I asked. "That's Spanish moss," Grandpa answered. "It's a living plant." "This is a world I once knew well, where spirits and the living dwell. Moss curtains part for our Piro, old memories begin to flow." Brooke Homer, isn't that a gorgeous page? Spanish moss hanging from the trees. It probably feels a little damp all over the highways. I had to drive through them all. Oh, wow, really? I didn't know that bad. That's thick. I hear them in Arizona, like in the desert, but not to where you see them. You only hear them. Are they hard-shelled, Mike Silva? "There's nothing like this hanging from the trees in Los Angeles," I said. Uncle Joe stopped paddling. "When I was your age, T-boy, I was afraid of moss." "Afraid of moss?" I asked. "Why?" "The Rangaroo," Uncle Joe said in a scary voice. "The Rangaroo is a ghost that rises from piles of moss and roams the bayou searching for children who don't obey their parents." I was pretty good about listening to Mom and Dad, but what if Rangaroos made mistakes? "Mow up," croaked a nearby bullfrog. I almost jumped out of the boat. So Grandpa kind of spooked him with that story. And then there's, every once in a while we get one of the poems from Grandpa. It says, oh no, this is a little description. It says, "Spanish moss is neither Spanish nor a moss. It is in the same family of the succulent plants. Spanish moss was given its name by French explorers who were reminded of the Spanish conquistadors' long beards. Although the Spanish moss grows on trees, it doesn't put down roots in the trees, nor does it take nutrients from it. Instead, Spanish moss lives on rain, fog, sunlight, and dust." Isn't that interesting? Lots of information there. Lots of information. So Spanish moss isn't really Spanish, nor is it moss. Oh yeah, they have an exoskeleton. Yes. So it's a succulent plant. It was given its name by French explorers who were reminded of the Spanish conquistadors' long beards. And although Spanish moss grows on trees, it doesn't put roots in the tree, nor does it take nutrients from it. Instead, Spanish moss lives on rain, fog, sunlight, and dust. Interesting. Oh, there's that little monster that the grandfather was saying would come after kids. But look at that green, that glowy green color. Lucky for me, Grandpa hadn't noticed. His face had a faraway look. Were those tears in his eyes? When I was a boy, he said, I helped my dad gather moss from the trees. After it dried out, my mother stuffed mattresses and pillows with it. She even used it to scrub pots and pans to make dolls for my sisters. Yeah, so they really used that moss for. My dad would gather moss from the trees, and after it dried out, my mother stuffed mattresses and pillows with it. I wonder how that felt. She even used it to scrub pots and pans and make dolls for my sisters. As Uncle Joe began paddling again, Grandpa said, our ancestors learned those things from the indigenous people of the bayou. The Choctaw and Huma people had lived here for thousands of years. Some of our ancestors made friends with them. Original Americans. The OG Americans. Right, Georgia Pete? Uncle Joe added in his tour guide voice. They hunted, trapped, and fished together. The indigenous people taught the Africans how to carve pirogues and use moss. They called it hair of trees for everything from weaving cloths to building houses. They learned from each other. Together they fought off alligators, bears, and mosquitoes, Grandpa said as he slapped his neck. Speaking of houses, Troy, do you see that old house? He was staring at a broken down building not far from shore. The crumbling mansion rivets me, built for plantation royalty by Africans on Choctaw land while fearful of the master's hand. Very historical. So the Choctaw and the Africans lived together in harmony. And then there's an old plantation right in the midst of that. Europeans had homes like that built on large farms called plantations, said Uncle Joe. I learned about those in school, I chimed in. That's why our ancestors were brought here, to work as slaves on the plantations. They worked for no money and were treated very badly. Grandpa nodded. He had that distant look again. Many escaped and ran down to the bayou. For some, it was a first stop before heading north. Others stayed and lived in the Humas. Bloodhounds came after them, but the Africans would rather fight dogs and gators than be slaves. They were brave, I declared, putting my hands back on my lap when Grandpa said, gators. Yes, replied Grandpa, our ancestors endured a lot for us to be born free. I see a man from long ago. He's hiding from his canine foe. Did he escape? Would he be free? I'll never know his destiny. Yeah, little straw huts. So here they are. There's the plantation, and there was the slaves. And there's the master there. And then when they would escape up to the north, they would stop by the bayou first. There's somebody who escaped. And you see the dogs coming. Dark history. We moved on. Not everyone who came to the bayou was a runaway, said Uncle Joe. People who practiced the voodoo religion came to honor nature and the spirits of their ancestors. They honored them through music, dance, chanting, and spells. Gus, remember going to New Orleans when we were boys? Uncle Joe asked Grandpa, and seeing signs of voodoo everywhere. We love a good traditional cultural religion. Voodoo spells. I tried to imagine Grandpa and Uncle Joe as boys as Grandpa replied, "Sure do. We peeked into dark little shops and saw altars covered with skulls and bones, dolls and candles." "Oh, yeah," Uncle Joe said, grinning. "I think we saw a few ghosts, too." I don't know why they always associate other cultural religions with like ghosts and scary things. I was glad when we came to a bridge and left all talk of voodoo and ghosts behind. As we passed under the bridge, I saw a spider catch a fish. A little further on, I noticed how Uncle Joe was carefully steering the Piro around wooden stumps. "Look at the broken little trees." "Those aren't trees, no," Grandpa said, chuckling. "They're called cypress knees. They grow straight up from the tree's roots." So as he passes by, he sees a spider catch a fish. I do not want to live in a place where spiders are able to the size can catch fish. No, thank you. Knees are woody projections that grow vertically from the roots of the cypress tree. Cypress knees are usually solid, but some become hollow over time due to rotting. No one knows what their purpose is. Botanists have had many theories. One theory says that the knees are for collecting oxygen, another that they are for anchoring the trees in soft soil. However, when cypress knees are removed, the trees continue to thrive, so it's still a mystery. They are found on trees as young as 12 years old. So these are the cypress knees here that they're talking about. They have no idea what the purpose is. Right, Sola? "But why do trees have knees?" I asked. "It's a mystery," admitted Uncle Joe as he stopped paddling. "What do you think the cypress knees are for, Troy?" asked Grandpa with a twinkle in his eye. Maybe they are the bones of the ancient dragons, and now they're hollow, and tiny water elves use them for their homes. "That's my boy," Grandpa bragged. "I had an imagination like that when I was young. And now I feel a youthful joy, as if I were still just a boy. The aches and pains are gone somehow. I'm glad I kept my promise now." So this is what the boy is imagining. "Oh, do you, Catherine? I have a cypress in the backyard. We have to shave the knees down." "Oh, how fun." That's a great connection. Not fun for you guys to have to shave them, but... So the boy's using his imagination to know what these cypress knees are all about. I quit imagining when suddenly I saw something that was happening in real life. Look! On the water were two giant glowing eyeballs coming right toward us. Look! On the water I held my breath and my heart tried to jump out of my chest. "Well, well, T-Boy," said Grandpa calmly. "You spotted your first gator." "No hot dog today, Daisy," Uncle Joe yelled. "Go find your own breakfast." And as she understood, Daisy made a sharp turn and headed for the shore. Daisy's an old-timer, just like us, eh, Joe?" Grandpa asked with a little smile. Yeah, I think you have to be really at home on the bayou to feed the gators. But this one seemed to understand. There was no hot dog, so it just left. What held me back? An old man's fears of ghosts that haunt and childless tears. But now the ghosts at last are free, and tears need no apology. Look at that little bridge with the moss growing on it. It's really cool. The croaking and singing stopped as Daisy pulled her huge, scaly body onto the riverbank. She turned and displayed two wavy rows of pointed teeth. I imagined her with a pair of great leathery wings. Grandpa read my mind. "There's your dragon, Troy," he whispered. "Time to head back," Uncle Joe's booming voice made even Grandpa jump. We all laughed as we paddled away from Daisy. So there's Daisy, the alligator, and the boy's imagining it's got these huge wings on it, like a dragon. And it's scaring away all the boars, the wild boars. And the geese. Grandma was happy to see us when we got home. Boy, did I have a lot to tell her. Grandpa gave me my own notebook. I wrote about all the things I learned down on the bayou. I learned about its beautiful plants and its amazing animals. But I also found out things about Grandpa. He writes good poems, and myself. I learned that the more you know, the less you fear. And the prouder you are of yourself, your family, and your history. Grandpa was right. The bayou is much more than a river. The bayou has, to my surprise, a magic that can still arise. When I look through my grandson's eyes, when I look through my grandson's eyes. Oh, Kyle, no, not because you're not responding, but Oh, yeah, we see you, Kai. Let me see. Oh, feeding gators is crazy. Oh, okay, sorry about that, yeah. Oh, yeah, you have been. I'm sorry, Kai, about that. Kai, doing really good. Your messages are hidden by these. I think it's on my screen, like these little messages that TikTok sends. I think that's why. But we do see you. The end. So this has it's got like some information in the back. So there's Grandpa's poem that we read throughout the book, and then an author's message. The end. Down on the bayou. This was a really good, informative book. I'm always intrigued by the South. I haven't been to the South. I would love eventually one day to go to the South and see all of these things. John, welcome in. All right, let's take a vote. We started the live with The Mitten by Jan Brett, always a favorite. Christmas favorite. The Little Match Girl, 2. And then Down on the Bayou. This one was published this year. John, how's school? Are you almost done with the semester? What's going on? Fill us in. How are you doing? What candle do you have burning right now? All right, let's set the timer for 1 minute. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
Oh, Kai, okay, that one. Okay, number 3. All right. Janelle Howell 1, Books and Babe 3. Let's go ahead and tap away. We have one more book. We're at 24K. Our goal tonight is 40K. Let's see if we can get it. You guys are gonna get some really good books today because I remember when I went to go get this last batch here, there was a lot of new titles. A lot of cultural ones as well. Lots of cultural books. This is another one that was published this year. John doing really good. No candle burning right now. Oh, okay. John, what's it like in Vermont right now? Samantha 3. All 3 for Brooke Comer. It's raining right now, guys. It's raining. Hey Siri, turn on. Magali 2. Mike Silva 3. Oh, okay, yeah, 3 was a good one. Julia 1. Oh, it's chilly 32 right now. Oh, that is cold. Gosh, that's almost hitting the 20s. Is there a breeze? Is there wind, or is it just cold? All right, our fourth and last book of the night is called Dream for the Land. This one is published this year. Dream for the Land. And look at that end page. We get this big open field here, what looks like where they grow food. and the little farm there in the back. Look at that beautiful color sky, peach and yellow. A peach color. Dream for the land. Isn't that a great picture? It's very theatrical. At dawn, Pa lines up our boots by the door. He smiles and musses my hair. Look at how pretty that is. It's like a little farm. There's the daughter and there's the dad getting ready for the day. We get this aerial view, this aerial shot of the farm. Then his eyes narrow. Do you hear that? I hold my breath and listen to the world wake. Coffee bubbling in the pot, the gentle knocking of the clay planters hanging from the front porch, and then faint rustling, a stray squeak. So here you have dad and daughter first thing in the morning getting ready to go to work, to get up for work. And dad says, do you hear that? And you hear the gurgling of the teapot. Look at this really pretty red teapot here. Coffee pot, I'm sorry. And all you can hear are the clanking of the pots together. And you've got these chilies. The bunnies are trying to eat our vegetables for breakfast, Pa says. I shove on my boots and chase after them. Critters big and small scattered from the rows of squash and tomatoes and poblanos. Shoo shoo, I muss the leaves the same way Pa mussed my hair. Some fall dry and thin. Looks like the rabbits are in the pomegranates. Or no, these are maybe tomatoes. Yeah, tomatoes. So that noise was the rustling of the bunnies, the rabbits eating the tomatoes. Look at her. The tomatoes look withered on the vine. This is the second batch that hasn't made it. I nudge a plant with my foot, and a horned toad skitters across the soil. I wave a hand, shooing it away. Pa crouches. He's not hurting anyone. Then he scoops it up, the horned toad's bulbous belly resting on his palm. These little guys eat insects, not vegetables. Here, Pa holds the toad out to give, or holds the toe out to me. Give him a scratch. I rub the horned toad right between his eyes, and they slowly close. He likes it, I say. So there's the little toad, the horned toad. Dad grabs it. She gets to pet it. Here comes Mom with her coffee. Con su café. You know what else they like? Pa asks. Then he brings the toad to his lips and kisses it on the head. Ew, I squeal. When I look back at Ma, she's laughing between sips of her coffee. There's the dad kissing the toad. And there's the mom. They're a stylish couple. Then you make a wish. Pa lowers the horned toad back to the ground and let them go. The horned toad scurries away, disappearing into the scraggly tomato vines. What did you wish for? I asked. Pa gives me a tired smile. I used up all my wishes a long time ago. That kind of magic is only for the young. As the sky lightens, I see the lines on Pa's face, lines that have gotten deeper lately. Speaking of magic, Pa says, it's time for you to sprinkle some of yours. So they're getting ready for the work day, probably early in the morning when it's cooler, to get the tomatoes so they don't go bad. We spend the morning tending to the earth, pruning and pulling weeds. Poor squash, Ma falls to her knees. Pa sighs, spider mites, this drought is making them worse. We planted the seeds months ago. Then we waited, hoping for roots to take hold, for tiny fingers to grip the soil, holding on for dear life as they sprouted into this wild world. Imagine having to wait for your food to grow, and then when it does, you get spider mites. Look at how pretty that background is there. This is the land that great grandpa tilled with his burro, that his mother and her mother tilled by hand. Land that used to be as green as jewels, fed by a cobalt river. Pa swam in when he was a young boy. How pretty that is. So interesting because it's a generational. It's a generational thing. But the river's gone, those winding curves that used to hug the earth, burrowing into Pa's skin instead. Pa lifts his head and stares in the sky. Oh, so it's dry land now. So it used to look like that. And now, desert. Pa doesn't look too optimistic. They'll make it over that ridge, Ma says, hoping. But the clouds are shy again today, clinging to the hillside, refusing to roll toward us and burst open over our small farm. At last, Pa looks down, trying to hide the tear that falls from his eye. It sizzles against the soil, not quenching anything. And I know that Ma's hope is not enough. What we need is magic. Yeah. So they're getting a little bit desperate. They're getting a little bit worried. The land is not landing. The sky is not skying. I take careful steps, searching every shadow and bushel of green. I find sticks and snails and half-eaten carrots, crickets and rocks and cracked pecan shells. I search high and low, up and down, in and out. And then I see it, another horned toad, resting in the shade of Ma's rose bush. Even though I'm afraid of getting stuck, I reach my hand into the thorns. There's the horned toad. We're at 28K, guys. Let's see if we can get to 40K by the end of the book. We only have 10K left. Let's tap, 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 tap. Pa, I run to him. Pa, I caught one. He smiles at Ma. Hey, maybe you're right about our luck changing. I hold the horned toad up like a prize, and then I say, I'm going to wish for rain. So she grabbed a horned toad, and her one wish is that there's going to be rain. Pa kneels in front of me. This time, he doesn't hide his tears. You're not going to use your wish on yourself, Mijita, he says. In that moment, I think about great-grandpa. I think about his mother, and her mother too. About every member of her family who has called this place home. About all of the people I'll never meet or who also call it home. So the dad says, you know what, use the wish on yourself. And then she thinks about all her ancestors collecting vegetables. Isn't rain what you wished for, right, Pa? I asked. If you could. Pa faces the rows and rows of turned soil and the blazing sun beyond them. He squeezes me close. If I could, I would wish to change the hearts of the men who ran these rivers dry. I would wish for them to stop thinking about their own dreams and start thinking about yours instead. We're going to have to read the history on this. I'm pretty sure at the end there's going to be a history. I stare into the horned toad's eyes. What if there's no time to wait? I plant a gentle kiss on his head and dream for the land and the world as it once was. I dream for the world as it could be. She gives the horned toad a kiss because she's going to get a wish. This is the author's the end. This is the author's note. It says, when I was growing up in West Texas, my father and I used to watch thunderstorms from our front porch, counting the silent lightning strikes struck on the edge of the cap rock and knowing it would take a good amount of luck for the rain to actually reach us. But when it did, it was a celebratory occasion, especially for the cotton farmers whose fields of grain spread for miles across the plains. These days, rain is even more of a precious commodity. For the past 23 years, the southwestern United States has been experiencing something called a mega drought, which is any drought that lasts 2 decades or longer. It's the longest mega drought in this region in the last 1,000 years. The lack of rain and snow due to climate change has affected families and small homesteads like the one in this story, as well as surrounding wildlife and environments in which they live. Rivers are being hit especially hard, and the biggest risk to their survival are man-made. Factory farms, mega dairies, and oil and gas companies, more interested in profits than well-being of the communities who rely on these rivers, aren't just natural habitats, fish kills, and unsafe drinking water, which comes with its own slew of health problems, including cancer. All while billion-dollar corporations become even richer. This is why my narrator chooses to take action, because there's no time to wait. The end. We love a good political book, especially in children's literature. We love a good we love a good political book, especially in children's literature. Dream for the Land. You guys got really informative stories tonight. Lots of information. Letter cut for all feminists. Yeah, that was deep and good knowledge. I agree. Billion-dollar corporations. We hear them not only in real life, but we hear them in children's literature as well. We started the live with The Mitten. One. Right, for all feminists? The Little Match Girl, 2. Down on the Bayou, 3. Louisiana, the South. And then an extension of the South, Texas. Dream for the Land. Really good books tonight, guys. Really good books tonight. We can never discount children's literature. You can never discount children's literature because there are lots of good titles, illustrations, art, things to think about. We've come a long way from Dick and Jane. We've come a long way from Dick and Jane. All right, let's do the last. Yeah, all 4 books were awesome tonight. I agree, Bookhomer. Let's see what everybody is thinking. Feral Feminists, they were also, 10 out of 10 for all of them. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute. Let's do one last minute. We're at 32K. Thank you guys so much for all the taps. I really appreciate that. 1 minute.
1 minute starting now.
Gosh, we went over and we're just reading books. Julia, 1 or 3? Alrighty, friends. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this Monday night. This rainy and cold night, and it's probably cold wherever you are. Magali 3, if you are on the East Coast and you're getting ready for bed, have yourselves a good night. If you're going to stay up late, we'll be back on again in 30 minutes. 30 minutes for the West Coast feed. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you for the 33,000 likes and any of the goals that we achieved today. Really appreciate that. That goes towards our proud but small money fund for TikTok, which allows us to buy our pretty decorations for our tree. Alrighty, everybody, have yourselves a good night, Books and Babe. Have a good night, and we will see you in a bit. Have a good night, everyone.